Howdy you legends, my name is Cowboy, and today we're going to be diving into 5 of the worst, most horrendous horror games you've never heard of. Those games deep in the recesses of the App Store that no one ever downloads. From number 5 that just left us a little hungry for more, all the way to number 1, which was hands down the worst game I have ever downloaded in my gaming career. So without further ado, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and we're going to jump right into number 5. Welcome to Creepizza. Look at that face. Now, in this game, you find yourself an aspiring pizzeria chef. You've just come into the ownership of an existing pizza shop that was closed down under mysterious circumstances. Those circumstances being a panic pineapple pizza came to life and almost unalived the previous owner. Now, despite the townsfolk giving you multiple warnings as to why you shouldn't reopen this shop, you are just adamant and have to do it. Now, I would like to say right off the bat, when I first started the game, I got run over by a vehicle and it directly sent me to an ad. So I found out very quickly that every time you're oofed in this game, it sends you to an ad. However, the ads don't actually interfere with your gameplay as long as you stay alive. The controls of the game itself are pretty clunky, but not the worst I've seen. It took a few minutes, but we were able to get used to them pretty fast. The goal of the game is pretty simple. You need to set up electricity, phone line, get flour, and display a welcome sign. As you're completing these tasks, it will randomly turn nighttime, and that is when the Creepizza monster will spawn and start chasing you. Now, the good thing about this is this mob does not outpace the character, which means as long as you're running away, it will not catch you and force you to watch an ad once it unalives you. Now, in order to stop the Creepizza and turn it back to daytime, you have to find the golden tomato. One aspect of the game that did give me a little bit of trouble were the pineapples. You can find them in the woodlines, and they have 2 uses. You can chuck them at the Creepizza monster, which temporarily immobilizes them, and more importantly, you can throw them at the levers that are found on the sides of 2 buildings within the game. The more important one being the fire station, which is where you will get your sack of flour. Once you throw it at that lever, then you can go up to the roof, onto that platform, and get that sack of flour. Now, once all 4 tasks are complete, you get your customary cutscene that tells you against all odds you've completed the game, which is a nice little touch. Now, as a bonus, this game does actually have an endless mode, and in it, it perpetually switches from day to night, back and forth. You find yourself hunting for that golden tomato, and every time you do, you get a point against the Creepizza monster. Should the Creepizza monster prevail, he gets a point against you, and it just goes back and forth. Overall, I give Creepizza 2.8 out of 5 stars. The main reasoning because the controls and the graphics are really rudimentary, and even though it does tell a story from beginning to end, the story itself is very short. You can beat the game in a matter of minutes. However, I really do appreciate the fact that the ads do not interrupt the game unless you are defeated by the monster itself. The next game on our list, coming in strong at number 4, is a VHS-style horror/atmospheric game with its share of jump scares, known as Strangers Here. Now, the premise of this game is mysterious creatures known as strangers have infiltrated the world by impersonating humans. They copy their appearance, their voice, and their mannerisms. The game really does draw you in with its visuals. Now, you play the role of a human who is tasked with distinguishing the strangers from actual human beings. You do this through making critical choices and facing intense situations. Now, at first glance, you might be asking the question, why did he put this game on this list? It doesn't look horrible. Why is it in the top 5 list of most horrible games? The reason why I did this is because of the ads. Now, you haven't seen any yet in this video, but they make a crucial mistake that absolutely destroys this gameplay. And what that is they put the ads in the wrong spots. Now, when you make a poor decision and your character doesn't survive, then you expect to see an ad. That is the standard placement of ads within mobile games. However, the crucial mistake that they made here was right in the middle of this storyline and the decision-based aspect of the game which draws you in, They literally interject ads right when you're getting into it. It destroys the immersive nature of the game itself. And to not get into too much detail, because I like to stay family friendly, they actually put ads in this game that are incredibly inappropriate for anyone under 17, which was actually quite the surprise. And of all the games that I've put on this list, this was the only game that actually put ads in here that were absolutely not for children.
Build an army greater than all of theirs combined. Obviously, it was not purely.
My final take on Strangers Here, the VHS horror game, is it was just very disappointing. It could have been so much better had it not been for the ad placement and the content of the ads themselves. So overall, I'm going to be giving this game a 2.4 out of 5 stars. Now, in the future, if they do kind of critique how their ads are placed, I would be more than willing to come back to this game. It does have 6 different endings. I was only able to get to one before I kind of got deterred by the ads themselves. So if anyone else has played it and gotten different endings, I'd love to hear about it down in the comment section. But for now, we're sitting at 2.4 out of 5. Hold on to your horses for this next one, folks, because number 3 is pretty unique. Now, we've all seen the ads, we've been talking about them already, but this game has 0 ads. And it's not because it was designed that way. It was because of a glitch. This game tries to retrieve the ads, and there's some kind of error in the code that doesn't allow the game itself to load the ad. Now watch this right here. In Scary Doll Mansion Survival, they try to load the ad, and it doesn't help. There are 10 levels total, and then it loads another ad, and then nothing happens, and you go right back to the gameplay. That is pretty unique, and I will take that kind of glitch any day. Now, if that was the only mishap that we experienced during the gameplay, then Scary Doll Mansion Survival wouldn't have made this list, let alone number 3. Now, it is a 3D horror survival escape game where you explore a haunted mansion / house, you avoid a terrifying possessed doll or doll-like monster, and you solve puzzles and escape. It's pretty straightforward. The controls for this game are very clunky, very simple. You have to be looking right at an item in order to properly interact with it, and the levels themselves really don't deviate from the same equation. You find a certain number of dolls along with a key, and then you find a door that you open with said key, and as soon as you walk through that door, the next level begins. You complete that one and you start the next one. Now, some of these levels, as you get past 3 and 4, you will have that nifty little possessed doll walking towards you, and you have to avoid said doll, otherwise you will meet your demise. Now, the reason why this game made it to number 3 on the list is because it is the first game that I have played where I haven't been able to finish it due to a glitch. Level 6 glitched out every single time I attempted to complete it. I got the dolls, I got the keys, and the doors would not open. I even uninstalled the game, restarted it just to try to see if there was anything on my device's end. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I was not able to finish this game due to the glitch. So for that reason, I'm giving this a straight 2.0 out of 5 stars. Swimming in at number 2 is Silent Waters, which is a horror escape style game where you pretty much just run around a very dimly lit liminal space in the back rooms of a pool, kind of like a haunted public pool but indoor. And you guessed it, a mysterious monster is waiting somewhere in these rooms. Now, don't let its place on the list fool you. This game does actually come in first when it comes to the sheer amount of ads that we had to watch in order to complete this game. Let us start at the beginning. The goal of this game is very simple: escape without getting unalived by the creature. In order to do that, you have to find 6 different rings that will eventually open a box that's in your possession that contains a key that leads to the door that leads outside. Pretty simple. However, the owl creature, or whatever you want to call this thing, that spawns runs faster than the player. So every time it spawns, which is typically every 30 to 45 seconds from my own experience, it will unalive you, and as soon as you press retry, it forces you to watch an ad.
Are you tired of your drawings never looking like you want them to?
Oop. Oh geez. Well, the owl creature can cross the water in the pool. So that means we have another ad incoming. Alright. Let's see what ad we get. Now, aside from the owl creature forcing you to watch ads every 30 to 45 seconds, there is another aspect of this game that produces even more opportunities for us to be bombarded with ads, and that is your inventory. Now, this does seem to be the choice of the player whether or not you watch these ads, but it is a dynamic that I haven't seen too often, so I wanted to cover it for you guys. The items in your inventory, even if you have them, you have to watch an ad in order to use them. Now, that is what I gathered because it would not let me use the sprint candy, and it said I could watch an ad if I wanted to use it amongst some of the other items. Now, the batteries I was able to use, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner of the screen there, it has that little battery symbol, and all you had to do was click on it. Now, the sprint candy was a different story. I never figured out how to use it, and along with all the other items in my inventory, it gave you the option to watch ads to use things that I was already in possession of, which I had never seen before and thought was quite interesting. Eventually, after being found by the owl beast again and again and again, we were able to get all 6 swim rings, which allowed us to open the box and discover the key. And then after we discovered the key, we were defeated by the owl beast again and again. And then we finally found the exit, which allowed us to leave this accursed underground liminal space pool. Now, we got our little cutscene, and at the very end, I'm going to be honest, I was extremely glad I was done with this game because I was very, very fatigued from all the ads. Now, as far as this one goes, I'm going to give them a 1.6. Just because I know there was effort that was put into this game, but they allowed the ads to absolutely take over. It was pretty much a horde of zombies, but in ad form. I remember the ads more than I remember most of the gameplay. Hold up. Let's go back. Rewind. What is wrong with this picture? Other than the fact that it is skewed to the right off screen. That is not an editing faux pas on my end. The game itself is coded incorrectly and we cannot see the full title page, which, if I have to take a wild guess here, says Scary Baby the Horror House, which is funny because that's not even the right name based on what's in the App Store. The App Store itself is named Evil Scary Baby Horror Games. Let us ignore the mislabeled and skewed title page and press play. And what do you expect's going to happen? Full page ad, right off the bat, before we even get into the game. Crystal River Windows Inc. Hello, you get free advertising. Now, after that, it gives us a mission select page, which, yes, it's skewed to the left. That one's skewed to the right. We have multiple ads on each page, which goes right into a cutscene. Now, this cinematic is actually pretty drawn out, so we're going to fast forward it a little bit.
Hello? Anyone at home?
Now, I'm not sure how this plays along with the storyline, but it looks like the moment you enter the home, you get unalived by this Timu Chucky doll. Now, putting that aside, let's go ahead and talk about the game itself, the straightforward goal of what you're supposed to do. Now, it starts off with you finding this infant outside your doorstep, and you put it in the same crib as your own child. Directly after, the evil scary baby progressively gets more evil and scary.
I also want the toys.
That peak animation that you just had the privilege of watching should be all the proof that you need that we have reached the bottom of the barrel. This is the pit beneath the pit. This is the point where all horror games go to cry. When it comes to the evil baby inside of this game, it's pretty much like if Chucky and a melted rubber duck had a child, and then they raised that child inside of a broken copy of Sims 2. That's pretty much your villain. If I had to describe the controls, it would be like you're steering a grocery cart with square wheels through a mud puddle. And aside from the very beginning when we first booted up that skewed title page, we haven't even begun to address how many ads are actually in this game. This thing serves more ads than a free-to-play clicker from 2010. You'll see more unskippable pop-ups than actual gameplay. It's less survival horror and more ad survival simulator. And if you need even more proof than that, the pause button on the top right-hand corner of this screen, the second you press it, it sends you to an ad. Not just once, but every solitary time you press it. And the final thing I'll say about the ads in this game, something kind of unique, is that the ads run in conjunction with this game, meaning the gameplay doesn't stop when the ads are playing. You can actually hear the maniacal laughter of the evil baby in the background because the game is still going as you're watching the forced ad. And for our number one pick, I'm giving Evil Scary Baby Horror Games a solid 0.6 out of 5 stars. And I'm giving it that 0.6 simply for the fact that it really did entertain me and make me laugh because it was so bad. Now for everybody else, thank you so much for making it this far in the video. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. I am trying to make it to 15,000 by the end of this year.